This YCN segment is brought to you by Bubba's Bar and Grill on Lake Sunapee in Newberry Harbor.
Welcome in, YCN Sports Talk. Jeremy Stout, Andrew Zerhide joining me again this week, and the Red Sox fresh off a big win against Toronto, but before that, a big sweep over the New York Yankees at home. And Andrew, we talked about it last week going into the series. We figured, maybe get a split. That'd be good with the way the injuries were piling up.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think anybody expected what happened. A 4-game sweep, and that whole weekend, starting Thursday through Sunday night or Monday morning, was pretty incredible.
It was incredible, and you hear a lot of Yankee fans say, well, the Yankees didn't have Judge, right? They don't have Sanchez. Well, the Red Sox didn't have Chris Sale.
Yep.
Right? They don't have Kinsler. They had a lot of guys injured.
Devers was injured.
Vasquez is still injured. I mean, they have injuries too. 4-game sweep. I mean, with Brian Johnson starting game 1, I was kind of nervous about that game.
Yeah.
They started out down 4-0 in game 1. They came back with a ton of runs.
Yeah.
I mean, that offense really exploded.
Yep.
I mean, that was a great way to start it off. It really felt like after that game 1,
right,
even with 3 more games, it felt like the Red Sox had a chance to sweep just after winning the first game.
I mean, it was such a big game, and the momentum was on their side, and then you had, like you said, you had Porcello lined up, you had Price on Sunday night, which he's pitched questionable against the Yankees at best,
yes.
But really, and then Eovaldi throwing that beautiful game after Porcello,
right.
In a game that got close at the end with a little questionable action by Kimbrel, but they held off, they got the sweep. And now after the Yankees win a couple games, Red Sox win a game against the Blue Jays, 9-game lead as we sit here on Wednesday.
Yep.
And I don't want to count our chickens before they hatch, but I mean 9-game lead with 6 weeks to play.
Yeah.
That's pretty big. Maybe not quite wrapped up, but it's pretty close.
That is big, and you look at the Red Sox, they have 80 wins right now.
Unbelievable.
It really is crazy. I just don't see the team coughing up this big of a lead. 9 games. I mean, like you said, there is a decent amount of baseball left, and you do play the Yankees in 2 more series. I think, Is it 7 more games or maybe 6 more games?
6 more. I think 2 3-game series.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's possible, but I just think with Judge still out, and we don't even know if Judge is going to come back, being able to swing his power bat with his wrist injury. But I just think the Red Sox, so the division is wrapped up. You got to look toward the playoffs. If this team doesn't win in the playoffs, who cares about the regular season, right?
Right, and that's the big thing, and we'll get to that in the next segment, talking about that rotation and how they line that up. But speaking of the rotation first, Chris Sale, you mentioned, not getting that start against the Yankees. They thought he would pitch against the Blue Jays this series, and then I don't know if it was Sunday afternoon or Monday morning, they kind of announced that he'd be bumped back, not to this Blue Jays series. Was that sort of a precaution because, hey, we're so far up on the Yankees, now we don't need to rush Sale back, or do you think there's really a problem? Where's your level of concern?
So we saw the last couple of weeks, Chris Sale was reaching 100 miles an hour, right? He was hitting speeds he had not hit in a number of years, so he was really reaching back. And his numbers, he was really the best pitcher in baseball for a few weeks. And maybe a little bit of inflammation in his shoulder. I think that probably did happen. He was a little more sore than usual. And with the amount of games they had up against the Yankees, they knew they could afford to sit him for a start. And once they swept the Yankees, that bought them another start. Right, so they could really sit him for 10 days. He could miss 2 starts. I think it's a great move. I even heard a little conspiracy that Chris Sale was healthy. He could have pitched against the Yankees, but the Red Sox think they're going to face the Yankees in the playoffs. They don't want to show the Yankees Chris Sale.
Right.
They want to save him. So, either way, I think it was a smart move. I think really he probably is a little sore.
Right.
And they're trying to save him for the playoffs because, once again, you need Chris Sale in the playoffs. He's your ace. If he's not going to be pitching well in the playoffs, it's going to be tough to win.
Right, it is going to be tough to win, especially the way, like I said, the pitching staff lines up. They've got some healthy guys. They've got some guys coming back from injury, possibly. Over to the offensive side and defensive side, Ian Kinsler, a great addition for the Red Sox. We talked about it. Obviously, it doesn't look like Pedroia is going to come back this year.
Right.
Kinsler, a great defensive addition. I think he was hitting 4 for 10 in his 3 games with the Red Sox.
Yeah.
Then he gets the hamstring. They got to have him back, and he should be back soon. This doesn't look like a long-term thing.
No, it doesn't. It was a great pickup. He's really a veteran player. He's played in the playoffs. I think he fits in well. You see the guys they brought in, Eovaldi, Pierce, Kinsler. These guys look determined. Really, they're fitting in with the clubhouse.
Perfect.
That culture is great. All these guys, they want to perform. They want to do well. And they want to play well for each other. It's really a great culture. And, Kinsler, really second base. I think they were like last in the league at production at second base. So that really addressed a weakness on the team. It was a great pickup.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, we talked, Kinsler didn't get really any action against the Yankees, but of course the other big guys, Evaldi with the big game on Saturday, and then Steve Pearce with the monster game on Thursday, hitting the 3 home runs. So these additions that Dombrowski and the staff have put together and brought in have really helped this team. So now it's up to the players to perform, and we'll talk about that when we come back, about the pitching staff and how does that line up for the rest of the season and into the playoffs. We'll take a break. You're watching YCN Sports Talk.